Hi everyone, I am Infant Vikram, Business Study Lecturer from Don Bosco PU College, Chitradurga. This is our 8th session. This is our 8th session. In the last session, in the 7th session, we discussed about principles of management. We discussed about meaning and features of principles of management. In the meaning, we saw that principle is nothing but basic fact or general truth. Basic fact or general truth. In the previous class, we saw that principle is nothing but basic fact or general truth. Fine. Why we call a principle as basic fact or general truth? Why it is so? Because these principles are based on experimentation, so many tests and so many experiences of many persons. Since principles are formed after so many experimentations, after conducting so many tests, after considering so many persons' experiences, they form principles of management, right? So, principle can be considered as basic fact or general truth. And also we saw that in the meaning we saw that principle provides general guidelines to the managers to solve the problems of the organization. Let's say in the organization there are clashes among the individual goals. Some will be having to get good salary, some will be having goal of getting higher position, and some will be having attaining good standard of living, so on. So usually there will be clashes among the individual goals in the organization. Fine. Here, principle provides manager to solve those problems. Example: principle of subordination of individual interest. To general interest. This principle provides guidelines to the manager to solve the problem in the organization. In the meaning we saw these things in the previous class. And also we shall go for recapitulation of features of principles of management. Okay, what are the features we discussed in the last class? The first feature we discussed in the last class was universal applicability. This is just a recapitulation of previous class, right? Okay, in the previous class we discussed about meaning and features. The features we saw that the first feature was universal applicability. This was the first feature we learned in the previous class. In this feature, we came to know that the principles are applicable to all the organizations in the world, irrespective of their nature, their place, or size. Okay, but the percentage of application will vary always, because let's take example centralization, decentralization. Centralization. In the case of centralization principle, all the authority or power will be vested in few hands. This centralization when we take this centralization principle, this will apply to small and as well as large organization. But here, in the case of small organization, the percentage will be more. The application of centralization percentage will be more. But in case of large organization, the application of centralization principle will be very less compared to small, because there will be more employees in the organization, maybe in the large organization, and we need to have more managers to manage those more employees. There we cannot follow centralization for more percentage compared to small organization. Right? The next feature we saw was general guidance. General guidance. I mean, in the meaning itself I told you, principles provide general guidelines to the manager to solve the problem. As in that, in the organization there exists groupism, misunderstanding, then delay in completion of the work, or quarreling, arguments, unnecessary arguments, these things. Here, principle provides manager general guidance to find solutions for those problems existing in the organization. I mean, when we take example, unity of command. Unity of command. This principle helps the manager to solve the organization, to solve the problems in the organization. Example I told you, misunderstanding, arguments, then the delay in completion of the work, then quarreling, groupism, those problems will be solved with the help of this principle. Because this principle says that there should be only one leader or one one head to a particular group or particular team, so that there will be no confusion, no overlapping of work, no duplication of work, no arguments, or no groupism, etc. Right? So here we saw that principle provides general guidelines to the manager. Right? In the next principle, we saw that principles are flexible. I mean, principles are not rigid here. Principles can be slightly modified according to the need arises, according to the demand arises in the organization. Example we saw that was a scalar chain principle. Scalar chain principle. This scalar chain principle says that communication should be always vertical. Always vertical. I mean, it should flow upward to downward and downward to upward, not horizontal or diagonal. Fine? But when emergency arises, we can follow all the directions. We can follow vertical, diagonal, and as well as horizontal path to communicate the information. This can be followed when the emergency arises in the organization, and this will be considered as gang plan. This all we discussed in the previous class, right? Okay, fine. Next principle we saw that was practice and experimentation. Practice and experimentation. Here we saw that was principles are formed or established or given after so many experimentations, after so many tests, and after considering so many persons' experiences, after considering so many experienced persons' experiences. Okay, fine. So this is what explained here. Fine. Okay, next principle we saw that. Sorry, next feature we saw that was cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect relationship. And here we saw that, or we learned that principle provides cause and effect relationship. I mean, for example, unity of command. What are the causes for establishing unity of command principle? Because in the past they existed. I mean, in the organization, people faced problems like duplication of work, overlapping of work, groupism, unnecessary arguments, delayed completion of the work. Those problems existed in the organization. Because of that, unity of command principle established. After establishing, what are the effects? Those problems were reduced, not completely solved or completely wiped out, but reduced. I mean, in the case of unity of command, there will be only one leader or one head or one boss. There will be overlapping of work less. I mean, overlapping of work will be reduced, duplication of work will be reduced, arguments will be reduced, then delayed completion of the work will be reduced because there will be only one boss. Fine. Next, contingent. Contingent. In this feature, we saw that application of the principle depends upon the existing factors in the business environment. For example, principle says that fair and just salary should be given to employees. Application of this principle depends upon the factors like paying capacity of the organization or paying capacity of the company or employer or current wages rate. Okay, these factors. I mean, application of the principle depends upon the factors. It varies, that's all. Okay, fine. These are the things we discussed in the previous class. This is what all about the recapitulation of previous class. Fine. I mean, in the previous class we discussed about meaning of principles of management and features of principles of management. Okay, now we shall pass on, or we shall start this session with the significance of principles of management. What is that? Significance or importance of principles of management. Importance of principles of management. Okay. I mean, when organization follows or undertakes principles of management, what are the benefits it will be getting? I mean, here we will be discussing about what are the advantages you will be getting when you practice principles of management in the organization. Right? First one, principles of management provides useful insights into reality. When you practice principles of management in the organization, managers in the organization will be getting useful insights into reality. I mean, here insights stands for knowledge. I mean, here when the principles of management are practiced in the organization, managers will learn or will get knowledge from the past mistakes undertaken in the organizations. Fine. For example, unity of command. Unity of command. I mean, when the organization follows unity of command, the manager will learn from the past mistakes. Assume that there existed, in the past there existed overlapping of work, duplication of work, then what is that? Delay in completion of the work, arguments, misunderstanding, quarreling, commotion, strikes, lockouts. Okay, these were the mistakes in the past situation. Here the manager will learn. See, when I follow unity of command, these mistakes will be avoided. Okay, this principle says that follow this principle, follow me, you will be able to avoid the mistakes taken place in the past. You will be able to avoid the mistakes of groupism, misunderstanding, confusions, then overlapping of work, duplication of work, etc. Right? Because when the organization follows unity of command, there will be only one boss, right? One leader. I mean, when there is one leader, he has to follow all his responsibilities. There is no other code because he is the only one person. He will be caught for the failure of the team or for the failure of the organization. If there are two leaders, one will blame the other one, the other one will blame the first person. And one will wait for the other to complete the work, the other person will wait for the one more person to complete the work, and at last works will not be completed. Organization will not be able to attain its goal, it will fail. But when there is only one leader, he cannot blame anyone for not completion of the work. He cannot blame anyone for failure of the organization or failure of the team. Fine? He has to follow all his responsibilities. What are the responsibilities of a leader or a manager or a boss? Training the employees, educating the employees, guiding the employees, correcting the employees, giving feedback to the employees, controlling the employees, communicating with the employees, communicating the updated information, etc. These are all the major responsibilities of a leader. When there is one leader, he has no other chance, he has no other option than following these responsibilities, because he will be caught for the failure of the organization or for not completion of the work. Fine? Here, this principle helps the manager to avoid the past mistakes by following this principle. Fine? Okay. You got this example, right? Because the same example will be taken for all the importances of management or all the points that come under significance of management. The same example I will take. I mean, this unity of command helps the manager to avoid the past mistakes. The organization like groupism, overlapping of work, confusion, not completion of the work. Fine. This principle says that, see, follow me, you will be able to avoid the mistakes in the taking place in the past. Fine. Okay, fine. Next feature pass on to next feature, that is optimum utilization of resources. Optimum utilization of resources. This is the example. I mean, in the second statement, we will come to know that when the organization follows the principles of management, it will be able to get the benefit of optimum utilization of resources. I mean, it is nothing but getting the maximum output with the minimum input. Example, person A, and there are person A and person B. Person A is produces 20 leather bags. A is given 10 pieces of leather pieces and he produces 20 leather bags in one day. And B is also given 10 pieces of leather pieces, 10 leather pieces of same quality, but he could produce only 10 leather bags. Of course, within one day. I mean, in this duration of 24 hours. Here, in the case of A, you find optimum utilization of resources. Here, A's efficiency is more. I mean, here, wastage of raw material is less, very less. Okay, this is not optimum utilization of resources. Here, this second statement says that when you follow principles of management in your organization, you will be able to get optimum utilization of resources. How? I mean, you will be able to get the maximum output with the minimum input. One more example. Using 50,000, we produce products of worth 1 lakh. The second case, using 50,000, we produce products of 2 lakhs. The second case, optimum utilization has taken place. Right? Okay. Let's see how this principle of management helps us to get the benefit of optimum utilization of resources. Okay. So go with the same example. Unity of command. This is the principle given by Henry Fayol. This is the one of the 14 principles given by Henry Fayol. Okay, when the organization follows this principle, they have to keep only one boss or one leader for a group. Right? When there is one leader, he has no other goal than following his responsibilities. When there are two leaders, delayed completion of work will take place because one will wait for the other one to follow all his responsibilities. The other one will wait for the first person because no one will follow these responsibilities at the end of the day. No one will follow. Fine? There will be fight between two leaders, but if there is only one leader, he has to follow all these responsibilities. If he doesn't, he will be caught because he is the only one person. He cannot blame any other persons in the organization. He is the responsible person for that particular team. He cannot blame anyone. So, when the organization follows unity of command principle, there will be one leader. When there is one leader, all the responsibilities will be followed. I mean, employees will be trained, they will be educated, they will be guided, they will be corrected, they will be given feedback, they will be controlled, they will be communicated with updated information, they will be directed. Right? When all the things are done to the employees, their efficiency will increase. Like when their efficiency increases, will increase. When all these things are followed, efficiency of the employees will increase. Because when the employees are trained, they will come to know more about the work field. They will get more knowledge about the work field. When they are corrected, given feedback, their mistakes will be eliminated. Their efficiency will increase. Right? When their efficiency increases, optimum utilization of resources takes place. Fine? I mean, wastage of the raw material will come to low position. I mean, will be subsided. Fine? You came to know how the organization gets optimum utilization of resources when it follows principles of management. When it follows unity of command, there will be one leader. When there is one leader, all the things will be followed. All the responsibilities will be followed. When the employees are trained, corrected, given feedback, correction, their efficiency will increase. When the employees' efficiency increases, resources will not be wasted, time will not be wasted, money will not be wasted. That is what optimum utilization of resources. Fine? Okay. We shall see next requirements of changing environment. Changing environment. I mean, when the organization follows principles of management, it will be able to meet the requirements of changing environment. You know, we are operating our business in the dynamic environment, not stagnant environment. It keeps on updating itself. It keeps on changing itself. So many softwares or technologies are dumped in the market every day. So, for example, when we want to adopt the changes taking place in the organization, for example, new technology is introduced in the market. We have to take that new technology and adopt in the market. All of a sudden, we cannot install the new technology and ask the employees to work in the morning. We cannot do that. When we undertake or when we adopt the new technology, employees have to be trained because the technology is new to them. They are not born, right? They are human beings like us. They have to be trained. They have to be educated, guided in between. Because since the technology is new, they will make mistakes. They have to be corrected, give feedback. Fine. And the most important thing is they have to be trained. Okay, fine. When all these things will be undertaken, when there is one leader, then all these things will be undertaken. Then there will be one leader in the organization. When the organization follows unity of command. Fine. When we want to adopt the changes taking place in the market, employees have to be trained, educated, guided, corrected, given feedback, and all these things we have to follow. Only then we can take the changes, take the new technology, updated machineries in the organization. When all these things will be followed, when there is one leader in the organization, then there will be one leader in the organization. When the organization follows unity of command. So here we can say that when the organization follows principles of management, it will be able to meet the changing requirements of changing environment. Fine? Okay. Next one. Next importance says that, the third importance is that when the organization follows principles of management, it will be able to meet the social responsibilities. See, we make use of the environment, we make use of the society, we take the resources from the society, we produce the product, and again we sell the products to the society itself. So, it is all the business concerns responsibility to work towards the welfare of the society. Fine? Since we are utilizing the society, we have to do something towards the welfare of the society. Example, we have to create more and more employment opportunities to the society. That will be good for the society, because when we create more and more employment opportunities in the society, people will get money. When they get money, their standard of living will be increased. Right? Right? Then one more example, providing good quality of goods and services to the society. Then providing some fund towards the welfare of the society for building schools, then hospitals, laying roads, building bridges, dams, etc. When it will be possible? When the organization gets money, when the organization reaches its goal of profit or growth and expansion. When the organization gets profit, it will be able to give some fund towards the welfare of the society. It will be able to create more and more employment opportunity in the society, right? When the organization gets profit, then the employees' efficiency will be increased. Fine? Then the organization will get profit. I mean, when the organization follows unity of command, there will be one leader. When there will be one leader, he has no other goal than following these responsibilities. I mean, when the employees are trained, educated, guided, corrected, given feedback, their efficiency will be increased. When their efficiency will be increased, automatically the organization will get profit. When the organization gets profit, it will be able to meet social responsibilities. It will be able to give some fund towards the welfare of the society. It will be able to create more and more employment opportunities in the society. Right? You agree with this, right? Okay. The last importance is management, education, training and research. I mean, when the organization follows principles of management, it will be able to get management, education, training and research. I mean, management, education, training and research will be undertaken on a regular basis in the organization. Fine? See, we shall go for example, same example. When the organization follows unity of command, there will be only one leader. When there is only one leader, he has no other option than following these responsibilities of him, his responsibilities. When he follows his responsibilities, this importance will be attained because you see, training is here, education is here, research will be added. That's all. Fine? This benefit will be attained when the organization follows principles of management in the organization. When the organization follows unity of command, there will be one leader. When there is one leader, he has to follow all his responsibilities. There is no other option. Fine? When he follows all his responsibilities, I mean when he undertakes education, training and research, employees' efficiency will be increased. When the employees' efficiency increases, automatically the organization gets profit. Okay, fine? In today's session, we discussed about the importance or significance of principles of management. Of course, in the beginning, we did recapitulation of the previous class. I mean, we learned about the meaning of management and the features of management. Of course, these are the points discussed in the previous class. Just we did recapitulation and we learned about significance of principles of management. Okay, next topics can be discussed in the next class. Okay, thank you.